Hey everyone, it's Victoria with Nutrition by Victoria. I have a Master's of Science in Human Nutrition and I specialize in helping you to build a high functioning metabolism so that you can get and stay effortlessly slim, lean, fit, and healthy, all while eating an unlimited amount of carbohydrates. That is what I've achieved for myself, and that is what I am here to help you do as well. So today's question is probably the most popular question that I get is, Victoria, when am I going to lose the weight? So you've come to a high carb, low fat diet, you've gained weight, as most do, who have come from a restrictive dieting background. The majority of people that I work with have either knowingly or unknowingly been restricting their carbohydrate intake prior to adopting this diet. So they're coming from glucose insufficiency and finally eating an amount of carbohydrates that provides glucose sufficiency to the cells. So in that transition, going from glucose insufficiency to sufficiency, there's a few metabolic changes that are at play. So generally with a glucose insufficient diet, i.e. calorie restriction, carbohydrate restriction, low carb diet, keto diet, flat out starvation, fasting, things like that, or just general under eating where you're not eating enough carbs and you have too much fat and protein in your diet. There's going to be a metabolic transition period, because you're going from a degree of insulin resistance here to now starting to build insulin sensitivity. But in that transition, the body's going to gain weight due to de novo lipogenesis and coming from a degree of insulin resistance, right? So when you start putting in more carbohydrate calories after you've been in a famine situation, the body's naturally going to gain weight. And it's out of survival. That is their survival mechanism to gain weight after a famine, because the body's like, hey, this could happen again. So we're going to store these carbohydrates as fat for now, until you start to build insulin sensitivity. And that's when the body's going to downregulate de novo lipogenesis and increase the metabolism, because now there's carbohydrates coming in, there's carbohydrate sufficiency, so we can efficiently run our metabolism and burn fat as well, because in our TCA cycle, fat burns in the flame of carbohydrate. We need to have carbohydrate coming in and enough of it in order to burn fat and run a high functioning metabolism, right? So when you're moving from calorie restriction to calorie sufficiency, carbohydrate calorie sufficiency, there's going to be a weight gain period. I experienced it myself. But then moving forward from there, these are some things that you can expect, as well as some things that you can implement in order to start rowing your boat in the direction of, acquiring a normal BMI, or maybe just a leaner body weight, losing some weight, wherever you're coming from, right? So you'll have the initial gain, the body gets used to the calories coming in, so plateaus off. And then what you can expect from there is some gradual decline in weight. It's not going to look like 1 pound lost every week on the scales, although it may, but that was never my experience. My experience was always it just came out off in chunks. And one day I would weigh a certain amount, and the next month I would have lost 5 to 10 pounds, or none at all. It all depended on my hormones. So a lot of what's happening here is we provide the body with carbohydrate calorie sufficiency is that our thyroid hormone production increases, insulin becomes more sensitive. So our body just goes through this transition where everything balances out and starts improving in its functioning. But if you are not experiencing this, and you've been on this diet for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and you still don't have the weight loss results that you want, and you're still dealing with a BMI that is over the normal BMI range, it could be that you need to start troubleshooting your diet some. So what I recommend, and I talk about this in my coaching program, and actually if you are struggling with achieving, the results that you desire on this diet and lifestyle, check out my coaching program, because I lay it all out very detailed of how this whole process works, right? Link for that is in the description of this video. Anyways, so then we're going to look at troubleshooting the diet, right? So with insulin sensitivity, it's primarily dependent on enough glucose coming in, enough carbohydrates coming into the diet, and maintaining a dietary fat deficit or a low fat diet, right? So 10 grams of fat a day if weight loss is your goal. I have completely omitted overt fats out of my diet for the last pretty much decade. You have to get really strict with your fat intake. So that's going to be number one for insulin sensitivity, is get really, really strict with your fat intake. And then two, make sure you're eating enough carbohydrates. So let's say you have that down and this is what you've been doing, right? Next thing you need to do is take a look at the composition of your diet and where the majority of your calories are coming from. Are they coming from sugar, or are they coming from whole food carbohydrate sources? Because we want the foundation of our diet to be whole food carbohydrate sources, our fruits, our sweet fruits, and our starches. So that looks like, bananas, mangoes, nectarines, peaches, dates, things like that. Whole food fruits, whole fruits. And our whole starches, potatoes, rice, sweet potatoes, other whole grains if you desire them, things like that. I mainly stick to sweet fruits and potatoes and rice, just to give reference, right? As the foundation of my diet. And Freely the Banana Girl has done this as well, and anyone else who's been successful with this diet long term, they've made the whole food carbohydrate sources the foundation of their diet. The reason why this works so well is because these are the foods that nature intended for us to eat. So the reason why these foods work so well is because they're providing us with that carbohydrate that we need. They're low in fat, so there's the two most important ingredients for insulin sensitivity. They also contain fiber, which is important for blood sugar regulation, and they also contain micronutrients and water. So put it all together and you got the combo for satiety, promoting satiety. So that is the goal here, is we want to eat sufficient amounts and also be satiated, right? So it can be normal to go through a period of hyperphagia where your appetite is super huge after you're coming from restriction, after you're coming from being underweight, but eventually that levels off. But if it's not leveling off, you need to make sure that these are the foods that you are creating the foundation of your diet with. Okay, and then we're going to get into adding the refined carbohydrate options as add-ons, right? Our flours and our sugars. But like I said, the majority of the diet should be those whole food carbohydrate sources with the refined options added on top. Some people say they have trouble with smoothies or juices or dried fruit or whatever. I really don't think it's possible to overeat on fruit. And if you are gaining weight from, overeating on fruit, it's probably because you needed the calories, okay? But, it's important, if you are having certain, questions about the lifestyle, come and talk to me and sign up for my coaching so that I can help you navigate things, because I've been through it all. And I will say that this is a journey. It's a process. It's a metabolic transformation, okay, where you are becoming a more efficient energy creating machine, right? From the efficient burning of the food that you're taking in. But I will say that some people can get caught up in consuming too much refined carbohydrate and not having a good balance of the whole food carbohydrates. And I will say that it requires a balance in order for you to achieve your optimal metabolism, your optimal aesthetic, right? Because we don't want to be so focused on low calorie density, which is what people can get caught up in from just focusing on, low calorie density fruits and starches exclusively. But then you can still develop insulin resistance from undereating. Yes, you can lose weight doing this, but if you're not consuming sufficient calories, which looks like about 2,000 minimum for women, 2,500 minimum for men, you can still run into problems. So it's important to have the balance, right? And that will prevent your body weight from yo-yoing as well. It'll allow you to achieve a healthy body weight within normal BMI range that is effortlessly achieved and sustained and maintained. Okay, so that is about it for this video. And then you also want to be making sure you're getting enough sleep, a minimum of 8 hours a night, drinking enough water so that you're urinating clear and staying hydrated. Also exercising every day, doing 30 minutes of aerobic cardiovascular activity every single day in order to help your body build its metabolism, increase your ability to uptake oxygen, and also incorporating some resistance training to build muscle, build mitochondrial efficiency, become the best version of you with this diet and lifestyle by implementing all of these important factors, right? So building insulin sensitivity equals the weight loss, the sustained weight loss, the effortless weight loss, the effortless slim lean body long term that is also healthy, right? Insulin sensitivity equals high carb, low fat diet that is sufficient in calories, and making whole food carbohydrate sources the foundation of your diet with the refined options added in ad libitum, per your desire for them. Okay, that's it for today's video. Leave any comments or questions down below. Sign up for my coaching if you're interested in working with me, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.